In this video, I'm setting up a manager for the Page Journey application. In the flowchart, you'll see Elliot Page as the operator, but now I want to introduce a manager layer above him to oversee and direct his work. Here in ChatGPT, I've created an avatar for the manager, but I want to change the background to better differentiate it. Right now, it looks too similar to Elliot Page's avatar, which uses the same background. So I'll ask ChatGPT to generate a new version, specifying that this is the manager for the Page Journey application, someone responsible for overseeing Elliot Page, and also request 10 possible names that feel human but still loosely connected to the app. Once that's done, you can see the updated avatar, and the different background makes the distinction much clearer. I'll then pick a name from the suggestions. Let's go with Nathan Guide and copy that across. Finally, I'll just take a screen capture of the avatar, and that's everything I need to proceed. The reason I want a manager is that Elliot Page has already been doing useful work. He identified issues in the copy and trust feature, generated fixes, and created workflows to send remediation prompts to Codex automatically. He has extended his own system with new markdown workflows, so Page Journey can now turn findings into structured tasks and push them to Codex for fixes. But the bottleneck is scale. My other app, Gapminer, has already produced around 14 affiliate sites, and only one is currently running through Page Journey. So the manager's role is to operationalize this. He will create a new Page Journey project for each site, import the websites, and then hand off ongoing optimization to Elliot Page. I will set up a team chat between myself, Elliot Page, and the manager Nathan Guide, and test this by having Nathan import another affiliate site and work with Elliot to optimize its copy through Page Journey. In the Claw Chat application, I go into the Agents tab, click New Agent, give him a name, and set his role as the Page Journey Manager. I will leave department and team for now. We can assign those later, and then create the agent. Next, I upload his avatar image. You can see him there, Nathan Guide. Now we need to set up his markdown files. Although he could have access to all the workflows in Page Journey, I do not want him actually running tasks in the app. I have run into this before, where a manager bypasses their role and just does the work themselves. So, in his workflow, we need to be very clear. He is not there to execute tasks directly. His role is to manage the work and delegate it to Elliot Page. Before we do that, I want to add the manager's avatar into my flowchart for visual reference. To do this, I go back to my main dashboard where I have all my applications and quick access to them. This is the mission control dashboard you're seeing now. There's a useful button here that opens Codex directly in the repo. I rename the avatar image to Nathan Guide and drop it into the agent's image folder in the mission control repo. Then, in Codex, I instruct the agent to place it in the pipeline flowchart next to Elliot Page, with one line into Elliot Page and another into the Page Journey node. Then I hit go. You can see here that Nathan Guide is now in the flowchart. There is an arrow into Elliot Page to show he manages him, and another line into the Page Journey application. I may remove that second line later if it turns out he does not work directly in Page Journey. But for now, the idea is that he will be responsible for importing the pages. As I showed in a previous video, inside ClawChat, I can use baseline files for the agent's markdown setup. For the standard files, I already have baseline versions ready. So for Nathan Guide, I go through and apply those baseline files, saving each one as I go. These will still need to be tweaked slightly, but they give a solid starting point rather than using the preset files or setting everything up from scratch each time. Once that's done, I delete the bootstrap.md file, as it's no longer needed after the baseline structure is in place. Next, in the library folder for Page Journey, there is currently a workflows subfolder for Elliot Page. I am now going to add two new folders for Nathan Guide. One will be called Manager Workflows, and the other will be a Manager Reference folder, which will act a bit like a memory folder for him. The manager will maintain a task list and a log, and in the reference folder, he will be able to see what he has done previously. In terms of actually creating the markdown files for Nathan Guide, I'm going to start in ChatGPT by uploading the markdown files I already have for the Gapminer manager. I made those a little while ago. I won't be doing things exactly the same this time, but I want to upload those files first and see if ChatGPT understands what they're about before I start generating the markdown files for Nathan Guide. Hopefully, this gives it enough context to understand what I'm trying to do. Next, I'm uploading the markdown files for Elliot Page to provide context on what he actually does. I'm telling ChatGPT that the goal in this thread is to set up the manager agent, Nathan Guide, and clearly define who he is and what he does. I'm also explaining Nathan Guide's workflow.md file along with the library folders I've just created for him. Next, I'm giving the agents.md file for Nathan Guide as context. This is just the baseline file that I put into Nathan Guide's workspace. In this prompt, I'm asking ChatGPT to output the file structure it thinks we need for Nathan Guide, specifically the file names and what each file is for. In the response, it also refers to agent, sol, user, and memory.md, which is fine, so I decide to give it those as well and allow only very minor tweaks so they stay close to the baseline. It then outlines the manager structure, with workflow.md defining Nathan's role and logic, playbooks.md covering task patterns and next steps, and rules.md defining constraints. In the manager reference folder, it includes reference.md for tracking state and decisions, a task list for active and pending work, and historylog.md for summarizing what's been done. Those are exactly the files we're trying to get. Now I'm asking it to go ahead and actually produce all of the markdown files we need across the different folders, and I tell it to put each markdown file in its own copy and paste box so it's easy to lift them straight out and drop them into ClawChat. I also make it clear that any changes to the existing markdown files in the agent workspace, like workflow, agent, sol, user, and memory, should be minimal, keeping them as close to the baseline as possible while only tweaking what's necessary. It's now a simple case of copying and pasting. I just take each of these markdown files and drop them into the agent's workspace and the library folders, making sure each one goes into the correct place. I want to take a quick sidestep here, just a quick tangent, to explain why I think team chats and agent managers are so important when you've got agents working inside applications. So I was chatting with Elliot Page, asking whether his workflow actually allows him to bring new affiliate websites into PageJourney. He said yes, he's got the API endpoints to do that. So I said, okay, we've currently got the cleaning ops guide in PageJourney. Do you know where that came from? And he said, yeah, it came from the affiliate website folder in the repos. Then I asked, is there anything else in there? He said, no, nothing else at the moment. And that's when it clicked. Even if I ask him to bring in more affiliate sites, he might not be able to, simply because he can't find them. So I switched over to the mission controller. That's the agent managing the application layer. It has access to all my apps. The cleaning ops guide exists there as well, and it has controls to push and pull from GitHub. It's already been used to push and pull that repo before. I checked with him. Is that affiliate folder only holding the cleaning ops guide? He confirmed, yes, it is. So then I went to Gapminer, because Gapminer is actually the one generating these websites. I asked, you deploy these to GitHub and Vercel, but are they stored locally anywhere? And he said, yes, they're stored locally here, and showed me exactly where. And that's the moment where it all came together. Right now, I'm effectively acting as the manager. I'm manually jumping between three agents, Elliot Page, the mission controller, and Gapminer, and stitching the picture together myself. But that's not what you want long term. What you want is an autonomous manager, someone sitting above the applications, not just managing one tool, but managing across them. So instead of me doing all this, Nathan Guide could escalate the issue and say, We can't find more affiliate sites. That manager would then spin up a team chat, bring in Elliot Page, the mission controller, and Gapminer, and run the whole investigation himself. He would ask questions and connect the dots. At the end, he'd conclude, okay, the repos exist, they're stored locally, we just need to move them into the right place so Elliot can use them. He'd wrap up the chat, generate a report, and pass that back to Nathan Guide, who can then carry on the work with Elliot. That's the direction this is going. Right now, I'm still in the loop, doing direct chats. But what you really want is a structure where managers run their own conversations with agents, like meetings in a company. You call the meeting, everyone joins, you solve the problem, then you close it and document the outcome. That's the system I'm building towards. So we now have everything in place in the library under the Page Journey folder, with the Manager Reference folder and the Manager Workflow folder, both containing the markdown files we've just created. Now it's time to set up a team chat between me, Elliot Page, and Nathan Guide. I create a new chat, set it up as a team chat, create a new team under the Page Journey department, and call it Page Journey Guys. I add Elliot Page and Nathan Guide, create the team chat, and then change the avatar. I run an initial team chat with Elliot Page and Nathan Guide and iron out a few issues. Using the wrap up and reset button in Claw Chat creates a conversation history, like a meeting report, so everything from the session is captured there. Now we're going to get going and see if we can put them into action. I'll start by saying, hey guys, let's start this meeting. Can you describe your roles? It's also worth noting that in Claw Chat team meetings, you can use the @ to message either of them directly. So we've now got them in a team meeting, and that's where I'm going to leave this video. In the next one, we'll focus on getting them to actually work together and operate without me stepping in. The aim is for Elliot to run through each affiliate site in the Page Journey app and edit the copy, while Nathan Guide acts as the manager, keeping things moving. The challenge is that these agents run in loops, and once a response is returned, the process stops unless something pushes it forward. That's Nathan's role, taking Elliot's output and driving the next step instead of me doing it manually. It sounds simple, but it's not, so that's what we'll be working through next. We'll look at how to get them working as a team, how the guardrails behave, and how to translate what I'd normally say into something Nathan can handle consistently. That may mean refining his documentation. I prefer the term manager over orchestrator, but they mean the same thing here. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.